Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's another day for the Pirate Broadcast. And thank you so much for being here. Drop some comments in the feed and let us know that you're here at least. And so I just wanted to thank you. I appreciate you being here. And if you're watching this on the replay, just leave us some comments. We'll come back in. We'll answer the questions. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the feed, and we should be able to get to them. And I just wanted to thank everyone today in the pirate community. I know we have an amazing guest today. Angela's going to talk about some of the things she's been doing. She has a podcast. She's in the healthcare arena, and she's also an attorney. So welcome, Angela. How are you doing?
Very good, Russ. Thanks so much for having me. I gotta say, I never imagined that I would ever be interviewed by somebody with such an exquisite beard as you.
Well, I'm glad I can be here, and we can have a fun time. You know, I promote the idea that kindness is cool and smiles are free. And, you know, if you can enjoy your day and you can understand and appreciate some of the things that are going on and, you know, make the best of it, that's what it's all about. So walk us through the journey. You're an attorney in healthcare. That's a unique combination. So talk us through the process and what your focus is and how you got there.
Yeah, I'm a corporate counsel at a healthcare company in the Baltimore area, which is a big health hub because of, Johns Hopkins is here, and I think the Center for Medicare and Medicaid is also headquartered here as well. So it's a huge healthcare hub in the city. Yeah. And I was blessed to go to law school in the DC in Washington DC, and so I was able to kind of look at DC as well as Baltimore when I was looking for a job. I actually started out being in the education field because I was a teacher before law school, and so I thought I would fit well with education law. Mm-hmm. But then I realized that practicing education law and being a teacher are two very different things.
How so? Is it just the dynamics of it?
Well, like as a lawyer, you just never get to interact with the community like as much as. Well, sometimes you do, like if you're an advocate for a particular school or a particular stakeholder, student, or family, maybe, but that was not the area that I was in.
Got it.
So I had a moment of reckoning where, you know, I really want to do something that makes me kind of, it sparks joy in my life, like want to wake up in the morning. And so I was watching this YouTube video online, and it was saying something like, in order to find your passion, look at your biggest pain point. And I realized that the biggest pain point that I had gone through was my health journey. I actually grew up in Korea and came here for college to Boston for the first time. And halfway across the world. And so I struggled with a lot of mental health. I struggled with my mental health. And one of the ways I struggled was I had bulimia for 7 years. And I was very lucky to overcome it during law school through food and exercise. And I wanted to, like, I realized more and more, like being a lawyer, that so many other attorneys were also struggling through something similar. And so I wanted to go into that field as a lawyer, but also as a health coach and a personal trainer, so that I can bring it all together.
You know, I want to unpack a little bit of that because it's so important. And I'm so glad that you made it through your challenges and you're healthy and helping other people. And that's really important for us to understand, is that some of the most challenging times in our lives, the most, you know, challenging circumstances are kind of the fuel to generate some passion in our lives. I mean, it fuels our future in a way. So coming from that mental challenge and that physical challenge, it's really it's it's striking to think that you use that energy to position yourself in helping other attorneys, which is an incredibly high stress position a lot of times. So kind of walk us through, what is it, just attorneys that you help primarily, and you coach them, or how does the process work?
Yeah, primarily lawyers, and what we have is we have a little community called the Fit to Practice Society, and that actually started pretty recently. We were in the middle of a pandemic. I had just given birth to my daughter, and in March.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we were all kind of stuck at home, and I was kind of getting back on track with my exercising.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to get cleared to exercise, and I realized that other lawyers were also feeling a little antsy. None of us could go to the gym,
Right.
and like walking and running, that's all sounds great, but it's kind of number one, it's lonely, and number two, it's kind of boring. And so, and I like to walk, but not that much.
Yeah.
So I just kind of posted on LinkedIn about, if anybody wants to work out with me, let's do it. And then so it kind of sort of exploded from there. And I was able to start this community on Slack, because of LinkedIn groups is not optimized for, I guess, being as interactive as I'd like it to be. And
Yeah.
Facebook is not a place where a lot of attorneys really want to be, I found out.
Yeah.
And so Slack was kind of like a little middle ground where it's like a separate from all of that, and then we can just kind of have a conversation there. And we just work out every Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And it's just a half an hour workout, a good break in the day if you're in California time. So yeah, it's just kind of the main offer that I have right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because right now we're seeing a lot of that. Accountability is key, because it's really easy. And I've been going through this phase, where it's like, okay, I got to get out of here. It's like I need to do something else. And so having that exercise group, I would imagine there's accountability involved. There's some coaching, or maybe there's some, maybe just motivation at some point in time, and just say, hey, I got this group that I'm in, and I'm going to continue to do it, which
Yeah.
is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the Slack community is a huge piece of the accountability, where we just talk about the exercise, and how hard it was, and how our abs are sore and everything after the workout. And it just kind of creates a sense of like, oh, like I want to be part of that too.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we grow our participation throughout the weeks. And for those attorneys who want to make it like more frequent, because we want to exercise more frequently throughout the week, I also have a paid program, a paid membership on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, where Mondays and Thursdays we do more workouts like we do on Tuesday, but on Saturday we do yoga to kind of kickstart the weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so that membership, I just launched it about a little over a month ago,
Uh-huh.
and we have some founding members, and they're giving me feedback, and I'm going to relaunch it shortly in a few weeks, so that we have that more sense of accountability, where, oh, I'm paying for this, so I got to actually attend.
Yeah.
And have some ideas brewing with accountability and gamification, so that like we have like a little leaderboard and everything. So
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's all virtual. So, I mean, everybody's in their home gym doing their own thing, or whatever
Yeah.
exercise is being involved in the group. So how did you think about this? How did you decide to create these groups and online? And you're also a podcaster, which I'll get into in a little bit. So, so being an attorney, a corporate attorney in the healthcare industry, is like that. There seems to be like, what's the connection, or was there a connection, or is it just something that Angela says, hey, I'm just going to create an online group?
Well, I was realizing on LinkedIn that we were networking more than ever than before.
Mhm.
before then before
Pandemic.
the pandemic. Yeah. And then we were doing a lot of meetups, talking to each other, just basic kind of meeting and
Mm.
talking. And for me, I always found it very useful beyond just talking and meeting each other to have like a task-based networking opportunity where we're doing something together.
Mhm.
And so I thought, like I was saying earlier, we're all just so cooped up in our homes, and I just wanted to do something about that. I think it just kind of came from a place of what can I do to solve this problem?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's usually the seed that is planted every time somebody creates something new is,
Right.
okay, I want to do this for myself. There are probably a few other people that want to do it for themselves as well, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like the pirate community, we are all out there. And if you're not connected to Angela,
Mm.
tell them Russ sent you, and you're a pirate now. So congratulations on being a pirate.
Yay.
And the pirate community is very active, and there's a lot of people involved in, they have conversations inside the group, and we actually connect on a regular basis. And I reach out and try to keep everybody updated on what's going on. And
Mhm.
it's really kind of exciting to think that we can do this. Whereas 10 years ago, it wasn't nearly as easy. It wasn't as functional. Slack didn't exist, and these tools that we're using to connect with now, and a lot of people are, on Zoom. Zoom's a really popular one, and there's some others out there. There's Skype has always been out there, and
Yeah.
it's a new way of connecting, and I like the idea that you're having to share task-based activity.
Mhm.
So that's important, and that's a good idea, because I've been in masterminds, and we usually have sprints or something like that, where we'll create something and we'll say, okay, for the next 6 weeks we're going to do something, and then
Yeah.
we go about it. So do you have an outline on a program for exercises, or do you set the agenda, or is it just that you're in the group together and you're participating together at an activity?
Yeah, so I'm the one, I guess, hosting the workout.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it's structured is we have three circuits. So the first is legs or cardio. And so I have two exercises for that. So I guess it's like jumping jacks and squats, for example. And so
Okay.
we do jumping jacks for 40 seconds and then squats for 40 seconds. And then we do that 3 times. So that's about like 6 minutes. But then we kind of like take a break in between. And
Okay.
and then the second circuit is for arms, and so like push-ups or with dumbbells, whatever it is, minimal equipment. And then
Mm-hmm.
finally for abs, and at the end we do a little stretch. So it's really like my goal is to make it as easy in terms of like the equipment, and also just like time passing as quickly as possible so that we can kind of get on with the rest of the day.
Yeah. Well, everybody's busy, and they got things to do, and it's really nice to be able to get out and change that uh, daily routine, and inject some physical activity and exercise in that.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about your podcast. You've been podcasting for a year or so, and it's probably made an impact on some of the conversations you've had, and some of the dialogue that you're thinking about having in the future. So walk us through that process, and I know you shared a little bit before we started, but maybe you could share it with the community and let us know how it's impacted your world.
Yeah. So I was struggling in my side hustle business. I was trying to find clients about a little over a year ago.
Uh-huh.
And I hired somebody to help with publicity. I mean, I was just kind of throwing darts into, I don't know what the phrase is. You know? And I was like, okay, well, maybe if more people get to know me, then they'll buy from me, something like
Yeah.
that. So I found somebody on LinkedIn, and then he told me that I need to start a podcast. And I said, I mean, I don't really know if I'm really going to enjoy it. I don't know if I have the authority. I don't know, whatever. Just all these doubts and limiting beliefs.
All those doubtful questions that we always ask, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. And so, but he was like, he kept pushing me, and I just started. I asked for people who just want to share their story, kind of like what you're doing, just picking people that you think are interesting, and then just
Yeah.
talking to them, right?
Yeah.
Online. And it went well for a while, but around January or so, I almost gave up because I felt like I ran out of guests, and I was chasing guests like with email, like I was like following up with them multiple times, and nobody really knew my podcast that much.
Uh-huh.
And then right before my maternity leave, like around March, so like in February-ish, I kind of put out a PS, like an announcement saying, "Hey, I'm going to maternity leave. So anybody who wants to interview, I just want to kind of have about a 2 months worth of content prepared while I'm on leave." And quite a few people said yes, and they were on my podcast. And then over those couple months when those podcasts went out, like I was able to grow my community exponentially, especially because it coincided with the pandemic. And so
Uh-huh.
more people were listening in, and then I got to connect with more people. And then now, like, I'm booked until October. And so I realized that, you know, somebody said always before breakthrough, there's a breakdown. And
Yeah.
oh, it was a good experience, and I'm glad that I'm here today. I'm glad my friend uh really pushed me to start the podcast over a year
Yeah.
ago.
Well, it's so interesting to me that and I'm an advocate for podcasting, and I've taught podcasting and helped get lots of podcasts out there. And it's really you do have to have some interest in the process, because sometimes you'll get up and you're like, I don't feel like it that much. And I've been doing this every day, 5 days a week for, not even a year. And I got 200 podcasts. I got 200 episodes in the Pirate Broadcast now.
Wow.
Uh, and also it's really, and it brings me joy. It's like I get to talk to amazing people like yourself, and it's one of these things that I just find fascinating about how people got to where got to what they're doing and where they're going, and kind of the journey to give other people some hope and inspiration that, holy cow, I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Those little nuggets of knowledge that we can share with others. And it's like, sometimes you have a breakdown, sometimes you have a breakthrough, but keep on going, And also, there's probably some conversations that you've had that are amazing conversations, and friends you've made. And that's the thing that's really the benefit that I see. Have you found that to be true?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like the most, like the deepest connections that I currently have are the ones that signed up like right before my maternity leave. And one of them, she sent me she knitted a baby hat herself and then sent it to me. And I only had
Oh,
like I just had her as a guest once on the podcast, and now we're like lifelong friends. And so
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah, it is crazy. And and I don't know about you, however, the healthcare industry is really, I mean, there's lots of challenges in the healthcare industry overall, whether it be uh, being overwhelmed, or not being able to do standard care like they have been for revenue generation, or all of these things and conditions. And I see a lot of stress in the industry. And do you see the same thing in your podcasting and your conversations as in the just community in general? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Like stress, like individual stress.
Yeah, I mean, just people are getting worn down from not knowing what's taking place in the future, and just kind of like, there's two camps. It's like, okay, here's a wide open opportunity to do something different because I'm at home. I can change. I can learn something new. I can create a podcast. I can meet more people. I can get on a Zoom session. And
Yeah.
then the other people are, there's another camp that I see forming. It's like, when's this going to stop? I'm tired of it. It's like, I want to
Mhm.
go outside. I want to be normal again.
Yeah.
And I just wondered how the healthcare industry, and the attorneys, and how that is forming, I guess, from a just a general perspective, observation wise.
Yeah, like as part of a company, I thought it would put us under a lot of stress, but I mean, I'm very proud of the company that I work for, and what I'm seeing is that everybody is just trucking along, and we are finding solutions to problems, and we're asking for help if we need help on a legal issue or whatever other issue that we have, and we're just kind of going with the flow and learning as we go. And so in terms of that, like the healthcare industry there, um I don't know. For me, I'm just grateful that I'm part of a company that is like able to manage this
Yeah.
crisis. In terms of like just as a health coach and working with other lawyers who might be undergoing other types of stress, mentally, physically, professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Again, like I'm also surrounded by people who are taking that initiative to be part of a community. And even if personally this whole challenge might be a struggle, we are coming together as a community and talking about it and working on it together, talking about our mental health issues, working out together, and talking about our professional challenges too, so that we are supporting each other. And so for me, yes, there's generally a lot of stress, but I think that when you put out positive energy and positive vibes, then you attract the right people and then you have the right conversations.
Yeah, I applaud you on that effort, because mental health right now is going to be so important to monitor and maintain, and make sure that we stay positive, we maintain a positive outlook,
Mm.
and also creativity. It's like we're going to have to come up with some solutions that may not necessarily be what we were used to having in the past, right?
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I want to give a shout out to somebody, a couple of people in the group, and say hello. We've got
Oh,
we've got
wow.
some people in the Nicole, good morning. How are you? Con, I ahoy. Good thing attorneys and doctors aren't competitive. Ahoy, pirates. Good morning, Russ Johns and Angela. Thank you so much for Con is an amazing resource that you need to know. So it's
Awesome.
Islam. Good evening from Egypt. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that.
Oh my goodness.
And good evening from India. We got India. We've got Chennai. Good evening from Chennai. Holy cow. And we've got Emily. Emily's here. We've got Angela is a pirate. Yes, Angela is a pirate. Good morning, Angie. How are you doing? Yes, everyone here is a pirate. And then ahoy. So Khan says, great nuggets. Always before a breakthrough, there's a breakdown. So fantastic. And Randy McNeely, he's advocate for kindness. He's always out there spreading kind words out there. And so great interview. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Randy. One of the things that I'm always fascinated about, Angela, is the idea that there's a lot of things we can do and a lot of things we need to focus on. On your journey, coming from, another country, coming in, going to college. I mean, I really enjoy Boston. I used to live up there in Stoneham and work in Stoneham. And there's all of these elements and diversity that we run into. And this idea that there's only one outcome is just really kind of short-sighted. And there's so many things that we can do with tools like Slack and being virtual. And where do you see yourself building into with this virtual community and this exercise and this healthcare and the attorneys? Where do you see yourself in 12 to 18 months based on what you're doing today?
That's a great question. 12 to 18 months. I see myself still just enjoying being a lawyer. And the biggest reason I enjoy being a lawyer is because of my boss. And he's just a phenomenal person to be around, to work for. And I mean, if it weren't for his kindness and generosity, I wouldn't be able to be active on LinkedIn, because I mean, I see a lot of lawyers feeling like they're not able to really be vocal and speak about the things that they care about, just out of fear that it might be inconsistent with their company's values or their firm's values or anything like that.
Right.
For me, I'm able to do it because my values are aligned with my boss's values, and just being who you are and speaking up for whatever you care about.
Yeah.
And so in 12 to 18 months, I envision myself being in my job, hopefully, and also being part of a community that really supports. I mean, my goal will always be to support other lawyers mentally, physically, and professionally in their health. And so right now we are working on our mental and physical health with like the workouts and the podcast.
Right.
And another angle that I'm kind of like working towards right now is the professional health aspect. And my definition of professional health is like, it's not just finding a job that you love, but working on something that you love with the people that you love. And so for me, that meant uh, beyond my 9 to 5, creating a business like this with other lawyers, with lawyers that I love. And so I want to help other lawyers also do the same thing, start their own side hustle, because again, we feel kind of restrained in what we can do with like conflict of interest and the risks involved in doing something for yourself. And so I want to support other lawyers professionally who want to start their own thing outside of their 9 to 5 without being fearful of the repercussions.
Yeah, it would. I mean, my background is so diverse. I can't imagine being constrained to some guidelines like that. There's a lot of industries, the financial industry, attorneys, doctors, they're constrained by certain parameters, guidelines. And it's nice to be able to have something that you can have on the side and fulfill the creativity and the creative element in your life, and be able to give back to the community. And that's so important. I think that's really important for people to have an opportunity to give back to the community. And so that's hats off to you. I just really appreciate the fact that you're here doing this and sharing that.
Thank you.
Any knowledge that you want to share, nuggets of knowledge that you've learned along your journey that, words of wisdom in your legacy that you want to leave with us today?
I think for me, when in doubt, I always lift another person up. Whenever I feel afraid of saying the wrong thing, or whenever I feel afraid of doing the wrong thing, I always go back to, is this going to lift somebody up? And if the answer is yes, I go ahead and do it. But if the answer is no, if it's going to hurt somebody or if it's going to hurt myself, then it's a clear no. So that has been kind of my guiding principle. I don't know if that's helpful.
That is incredibly helpful. In fact, it reminds me of the idea and the concept that it's difficult to be depressed when you're helping somebody else.
Yes.
You kind of have to, you share the joy, it's like smiles are free. You give one away and the next thing you know, you get one back and there's nobody's losing. It's
right.
It's like simple. It's a simple math equation. So
yeah.
it's like, give it away and it'll come back to you all the time. So thank you so much for being here, Angela. I really appreciate it. And if you're not connected to Angela, connect with her on LinkedIn is probably the best place to make the connection.
Yes.
So connect with Angela on LinkedIn, and all of these things we're streaming live, Angela, to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and LinkedIn. So there's a few people out there that'll catch up with you eventually. And then also at the end of the day, I'll rebroadcast in the morning and we have a podcast in the afternoon. So the podcast will be up and everything will be in place at russjohns.com. So, and it's a Friday. We get to have another break. And you got any big plans for the weekend?
Oh boy, I don't know. I am going to, I guess, just enjoy my time with my daughter.
So wonderful. Enjoy them. They grow up really quickly. So fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're out of time. And as always, everyone, please remember that kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And we want you to enjoy the day. Take care. Thanks, Angela.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.